life, modern life, and especially in the West, is very cruel. There is this ongoing tsunami of grind that keeps coming your way, and it grinds you away, and there's like no way to escape that. And that, in a way, causes us to do many things. One of the things it causes us to do is self-medicate ourselves. For example, substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, a whole array of drugs. When people use the term escape, when they use drugs, it means they're self-medicating themselves. When people say, well, I'm taking the edge off, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just taking the edge off a little bit. You're an alcoholic. You have a problem. You're self-medicating yourself. There's a song by Bob Marley. It's called Easy Skanking. And it says to take the spliff, you call this, the joint, to escape from reality, he can't just drift. So even by Jamaicans, when they smoke that thing, life in Jamaica is very difficult, so it's an escape. I can't deal with it. However, you can smoke all your marijuana and drink all your gin and tonic. However, the problems don't go away. They're right there. Once you sober up, hello, shalom, here I am. I didn't go, I'm right here. And then because it didn't go and you thought it was going to go, it just becomes bigger. Imagine. Let's say you have a horrible teacher in school, I don't know, high school, elementary school, whatever. Horrible. Not only he is bad with material, but also personally hates your guts. So you say, okay, listen, soon the year is over, and I get rid of this this mazik, this bad plague here. We'll move on to a different thing. And guess what? The first day you're coming back from school, you're coming back from vacation, open the door, hello, here I am again, and you're never going to escape. I mean, what do you do in this case? There's tremendous sense of anxiety that we develop because of this ongoing rush of pressure that we face. And there seems to be that there's no room and no way and no place for us to escape it. So we create different things. One of the things we create is a bucket list. Oh, when I retire, I want on my bucket list to go to Galapagos Island. On my bucket list, I would like to kiss a girl on a hotel in a balcony in the South Riviera of France. Bucket list. So, talking about bucket list, what does that mean, a bucket list? That's before you hit the bucket, before you die. Now, dying itself is a big stressor for us. In the Western society, we are trying to deny death, and we're trying to escape from death, because death, when we die, in a way, it's not in our control, and it seems that that's it. All your effort ceases to exist. So it creates a certain dissidence inside of me, some kind of a problem internally. So how do I deal with this? So I simply push it away. So I live a very elaborate life. I push, but the bottom line, you're going to die. So I don't want to die. So I try to do whatever I can to so-called deny the reality of dying. Where dying, as we've said many times, is a very real part of our lives. It's a very real part of our lives. And we feel that death is imprisonment. On the contrary, it's not. For example, people try to look very handsome or very pretty. Depends on your gender, of course. Let's clarify it. Pretty for girls, handsome for boys. Not pretty for good boys. Pretty for boys is not nice. Right? And then somebody comes to you and says to you, man, you're ugly. And he shatters your whole existence. And then you come to the mirror, you say, every time you look at the mirror, you say, ooh, too sexy for myself, right? So good looking. And then somebody comes and tells you, you're ugly. And you look at the mirror and all of a sudden you see this ugly creature. Hello, this is you. And now you feel even more obsessed to look handsome or pretty, and it goes on and on to no end. But if you look at a mirror the first time, and you look at another guy, he says, yeah, he's handsome, I'm kind of ugly. All right. As my son used to say when he was a little boy, he used to look at people and says, you're ugly, good for you. And I said, that's a very philosophical point. Yes, you're ugly, good for you. You're free now from all this chase and shenanigans of trying to look pretty. I'm not saying dignified. You always have to look dignified. But what do you want me to do? Change my face? Look what happened to Michael Jackson. Look what happened to Cher. Look what happened to all these people. What's his name? Joan Rivers. They look like, I don't know what, like zombies, man. They don't look real. Yeah, that's your face. Okay, so you have a wide nose. Okay, so what's the problem with a wide nose? That's a problem. What's the problem with a little hook nose? I don't know. In Italy, they don't seem to have a problem with that. Why? What's the problem? Okay, so I'm ugly. Good. All right. Now, guess what? Now that I'm ugly, I don't have to worry about this anymore. I'm still going to look dignified. I'm going to wear nice clothes because I need to look dignified. Right? I need to look classy. But now that would free me to work on myself. So what I'm going to tell you is this. The fact that we are all going to die is a relief. Why? Since I know that one day we're going to cease to exist, therefore I could dedicate my efforts to actual life. I could dedicate myself to living life. What you called life is not worthy to be called life. You're not living life. You're running away from it. Why do you have to wait, first of all, for a bucket list until you hit the bucket? I mean, you don't have the power to do that. Just do it now. All the things you want, do it now. But no, you are fearful because of the grind, because what the people would say, because you have to reach a certain milestone, societal milestone by a certain age. I'm 23 years old, I should be finishing with college. I am 26 years old, I should think about marriage. I'm 30 years old, I should have a house, a baby on the way, and a wife. If you're a guy, of course, right? And so on and so forth. And you are so busy confining to the matrix of who knows what, the societal norms that, guys, believe me, nobody cares about you. So you're going to say, oh, nobody cares about me. But you're like Eeyore, nobody cares. No, I don't know. You know Eeyore, right? You know Eeyore? I said, okay, nobody cares about me. Terrific. Let me do what I need to do. Let me live my life. Let me make my thing, this thing that I call my life. Because my life is not really my life. My life is full of false expectations and assumptions that I have, that people have over me. So therefore, I'm always a prisoner. A prisoner. I feel like doing this. Okay, what are you going to do to me? You're not going to approve of me? Excuse me, I don't live for your approval. The quality of my life will determine upon my approval of the things I do, not what you tell me that you approve, and so on. And it usually comes in a very passive, aggressive, sarcastic, and nasty way. Again, as I always say to you, controlling people, sarcastic people, passive-aggressive people are all extremely weak people. When you have a need to control others, it is an indication that you cannot control your own self. You might come with some kind of like, idea of, well, I really want the best for you. I really love that. I really want the best for you. You don't want the best for me. You just want to control me. If you want the best for me, guess what? Get off my back. Help me to become the best I can, not the best you want me to become, because guess what? You don't have any saying over it. You know why? You don't have any saying about determining how would I turn out, because you could not do the same job for yourself. You are incapable of defining your own self. Don't tell me how to define my life. Let me define my life. Let me decide what I want. People said to you, well, one way to do is make a list of all your weaknesses and all your fears and just go about them one by one. For example, let's say you're afraid of swimming, learn how to swim. Listen, I'll tell you that. If one will have to make a list of the things he's fearful, he will have to have probably like 3 lifetimes to go through all of them to improve them, so it will never become into a fear. It's not the way to go about things. How do you escape this grind? How do you enjoy things? There is a concept in Japan, or an event in Japan, everybody knows, watching the cherry leaves, the sakura, they're watching the cherry leaves, the cherry blossoms, sorry. A bunch of crazy people there sitting down, looking at cherry blossoms. They don't have time. Let's go. Chop, 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 chop. They make workplace picnics on the cherry blossoms. So if you are the peon, you just joined the thing, they give you certain mats, and you're supposed to go and get a place for all the chevra to come. You just have a place for them, you put the thing, and then they come in and they do a picnic under the cherry blossoms. Or, for example, the most amazing concept of a Japanese tea ceremony, the chanoyo, especially the one it talks about, with the whole wabi-sabi concept behind it, of like a barren wall in a small shack somewhere. You would think, oh, I want a ceremony like with elaborate, with belly dancers and the lights, and no, this is very simple, and so on. And that's exactly what we don't have in the West. Even in England, they used to have a timeout, or they used to drink 5 o'clock tea. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to change your life slowly, and to becoming more tranquil and peaceful and appreciative, as they say, stop and smell the flowers. I have allergies. What does it mean? If you will be able to create certain islands of tranquility in your crazy day, that, for example, you're going to come to your room, or whatever it is, you make yourself a nice, good quality, the emphasis on good quality tea, in a cup that you could actually feel, a little rough like this. Sometimes they have those Chinese or Japanese cups, they're rough, so you have a full sensation, texture in your hands as well, the warmth of the teacup. You know what happens when you put the water in the teacup? It becomes the tea. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Right? And then at that moment, if you want to put some Baroque music in the background, it's okay. If not, even better. No sound at all. Just experience the moment of tranquility, contemplate it, I'm not using tea, right? Because tea versus coffee is very strong. Tea is a little bit more subtle in terms of so you smell your tea a little bit, look at the tea a little, look at the color, enjoy the color of the tea. Feel the warmth of the cup, the texture of the cup. Sip your tea slowly, slowly. And when you're done, put it to the side. And then just be there. You see, you walk in the street. I remember a year ago something, I went to Israel to visit my dad. And I met one of the guys from Yeshiva. I was in Israel, and we were talking, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, I saw there was a water garden there. I saw the most beautiful water lily. Amazing. And I just couldn't stop to admire this unprecedented beauty as reflected from the flower, floating on the water. It's just, for a split of a second. And then it kind of changed. And all of a sudden I realized, and I still remember that moment, I realized the warm breeze that started to come from the west, slowly, slowly. I realized the trees, I started to smell. And it was all because it's not that it wasn't there. It was there. I just wasn't aware of it. I was too busy talking, blah, 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 blah. So you see a beautiful flower in a garden, somewhere. Stop for a second. Look at it. Soak it in. Appreciate it. You see a beautiful sight. You see a wonderful sunset. Sometimes I drive. I see the most, especially now in the summer, the most amazing sunsets. Because I go over there, it's up in the hill. So I'll go down. So it's amazing sunsets. And I wish I could, you guys are waiting for me, but I wish I could just stop the car and stop the world together with it. Just sit there and let it in. Those moments, those islands of tranquility in your life exists all over. I'll give you an example. You go to the supermarket. Yes, supermarket. They have the stem tomatoes. Just pick a tomato with the flowers on top of it and admire it. Admire it. Goodness gracious, God Almighty, this is so beautiful. It's round. It's luscious. It has the little stem with the leaves on top. It is darn perfect. It's in a supermarket. Take a fresh pepper. Smell it. Feel it. Take a bite. Crunch. Let this explode into you. Be mindful of everything around you. And all of a sudden, you have 30 seconds of tranquility here, another 30 seconds there, 5 minutes there. All of a sudden, your day is not that bad. When you feel the tsunami coming, remember that flower. Remember that tomato. You guys don't know it because you live in America, but living in Israel is a little different. We eat different, and at least I don't. When I used to be there, I don't know what people do now. Not everybody is a culinary expert, but the umami of having locally grown olive, to make olive oil with olives on a plate with a little za'atar, hyssop on top, with a fresh tomato, with a drop of black pepper on top, cucumber, fresh pita, an onion, dip it in and eat it. I'm ready to face the day. I'm ready to face the world. Here you don't do that. You don't allow yourself moments of tranquility so you fall apart. And if you don't fall apart, you become a very weird person. All the dark aspects of your life will emerge and will come out. And you'll become bizarre. And you have bizarre interactions and behavior. And you become weird. You want to talk about weird? Go to the city. Go walk down in Soho or Greenwich Village, all those places. Go uptown. Go to anywhere. A bunch of weird people live in the city because there's ongoing crime, and there are plenty of places of tranquility in the city. As a matter of fact, they are all over you. Those islands of tranquility. The problem is not with that, is with your perception and your lack of ability to appreciate. So when you don't appreciate, it's all these things. For example, if you hate, if there is hatred in you, you are not going to be able to control or to limit the hatred only to certain things. This hatred lives inside of you, so therefore you'll emerge and bubble, sometimes in an unexpected way. So is any other thing. So if you are a non-appreciative person, your lack of ability to appreciate would manifest itself not only to, okay, what's the big deal watching a flower on a tree? No, come on. That is a statement that indicates that somewhere deep down inside, you don't appreciate others, and you don't appreciate yourself, and you don't appreciate your life. You're living a very unappreciated life. Because if you're able to appreciate, you could appreciate. If you appreciate flowers, you could appreciate cats, you could appreciate people, you could appreciate yourself. But if you don't, you don't. It's all over your life. You have to learn to appreciate. You want to be able to live good life, harmonious life, and learn to appreciate. And the same thing when you learn Torah. You learn in Torah. You learn in Gemara, you learn in Rashi, you learn in Tosfot, Shulchan Aruch, blah, blah, blah. Do you appreciate what these people had done to you? Remember what I told you earlier in the week about appreciating Rashi? If I will have to take all the writings of Rashi and not write it again, just copy it, write it word by word, it will take me years to do it. So how did this guy were able to do these things? With no light, and he had to write everything by hand, and so on and so forth. It's an unbelievable test. Did you ever stop yourself to learn Rashi with the appropriate appreciation to the effort that this person put in for us? Otherwise, we would have been blind. Did you ever think about the Bet Yosef? That it took him 33 years to put this together, and he did not have the Bar Ilan responsa. He did not have Google. He worked for manuscripts for 33 years. Or the Rambam, or anyone. Do you appreciate what people do to you? Do you appreciate what you have? Do you appreciate God? The answer is no. And then you fall apart. Because if you appreciate the little things, you don't need big things. Why do we buy a lot? Why we own so much stuff? Because we are very unappreciative of what we have. You have a pair of shoes, they're good. Why should I buy a new one? What am I going to do with this? They're good. Well, when they rip, if I can't fix it, I'll get a new one. But right now they're good. When you have little, you learn to appreciate and to respect even what you have. On that, Chazal told us, Marbe nechasim, marbe de'aga. I'm not just worried about what will happen. Oh, they will break, my belongings will hurt. Marbe nechasim, marbe de'aga. You have a lot of stuff, I'll turn to you a little different. You're not worried a lot. You have a lot of possessions, you have a lot of anxiety. Most likely you're buying out of anxiety. You're anxious and you're unappreciative. So you have plenty to work on yourself. So Rabotai, coming to Bet Midrash to learn is an island of tranquility. The more time you'll spend here, the better it is for you. Don't think that you're going to go out there to the world and it's all going to be hunky-dory peachy keen. It's not. It is a grind. And you are a nothing there. And since you are a nothing, say, that's terrific. I can do what I need to do. I don't have to worry about it. People are concerned about leaving a legacy behind them. What legacy? 5 seconds after they put you 6 feet under, they put the dirt on you, you've been forgotten. What legacy? How many billions of people lived in the world? Not living, lived. Let's say the last 6,000 years. With all the wars and all the killings and all, you know how many billions of people lived on this earth? Would it be safe to say 10 billion people, including the people now? Would it be safe? Maybe more. How many people were able to leave a timeless legacy behind them? A handful, at best. Let me ask you a question. How many people a day you think they think about Kurt Cobain? How many people a day actually think about George Washington or Abe Lincoln? I don't know, some guy in Yehovahsville University in somewhere, Kansas, you know. When was the last time you thought about Abe Lincoln? What a guy! Or George Washington, the guy, teeth, you know. When would you think about them? How about Jimi Hendrix? Jimmy. When was the last time you thought about Stevie Ray Vaughan? When was the last time you actually thought about Mozart? By the way, I don't like Mozart. Mozart is like pop music, you know. Like, I don't like Mozart. Can't stand Mozart. It's like listening to Madonna. Or Elton John. You know, when was the last time you thought about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart? Or Brahms, or Handel? Or Paganini, or Albinioni, or Vivaldi? Or Bach? Or when? I thought about the Rambam. Okay, so that's one. Actually thought. And so on and so on. So you're going to tell me it's pointless, our life? No, on the contrary. It's pointless to think, to try to leave a legacy. Do what you need to do. Do what has to be done. Don't worry about the legacy. Worry about what needs to be done, about doing the right thing. Worry about living your life and not wasting your life. Don't worry about the grind. Don't worry about people's expectations of you. Stand on your own 2 feet while you can. Don't forget to flush afterwards. But stand on your own 2 feet. Have a backbone. Know what you want and go for it. Don't forget along the line to have fun. Because you were told all your life, you'll have to work hard. You'll have to work hard. He's a hard worker. That's a compliment. Oh, he's a hard worker. That's a curse. Instead of teaching your kids to work hard, did you teach your kids to enjoy what they do? Did you? So as soon as they try to show some independency, you control them, you destroy their lives, as much as you destroy your own. So Rabotai, I gave you now a lot of work to do, a lot of thinking to do. It's up to you now. It's up to you how you're going to write your book. Your book is still fresh. Still not a lot of pages written in. You're still at the point that you can actually write a masterpiece. And make sure it's one. Don't write a book that is going to be, well, he got up in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, he brushed his teeth, he went downstairs, he had a coffee, he kissed his wife, he took his coat, he went to work, sat on the bus, sat on the bus, sat on the bus, went to work, stamped, worked on the computer, worked, went to lunch, ate a tuna sandwich, came out, stamped the card, went home, went on the subway, sat there, smelled some armpits, went back home, hung his coat, took his shoes off, took the tie off, ate dinner, napped on the sofa, took a shower, went to sleep, got up in the morning, 6 o'clock, and on throughout your life. Don't do, huh?
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Barf and repeat, yeah. It's a very bad book. Imagine every page the same thing. If your life was a movie, would it be worthwhile watching? Create those islands of tranquility. Started learning how to appreciate your life, and enjoy them. Much more important than all. Have a great day and Shabbat Shalom.